Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we talk about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we share our stories of connection to that which is bigger than us, to the great mystery, to beyond the veil, to making sense of all of our crazy life and the things that are happening in that life to help us to come to terms with it and navigate it in a new way. And I love these conversations. I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird. I love to have these conversations, which is why Soul Nectar is really dedicated to exploring these topics of spirituality and hearing from people who have gone through, the really big journeys, and to hear how they did it. So that we can all learn and grow from this experience. And if you're interested in your own journey of epic proportions, reach out, get a discovery call on my website, carriehummingbird.com, Kerri, hummingbird.com. There's a free discovery call up there, and we can get to know who you are and what your story is, because isn't that the most interesting part? So today, though, we're going to take a dive into the story of Dipal Shah. Welcome, Dipal.
Hello, Carrie. Hello, everyone out there that's listening. Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here. So let me tell you a little bit about Deepal, and then we're going to dive into her story. So Deepal helps people become pain-free. As a medical intuitive, she has a gift that allows her to sense people's physical and emotional ailments, even when they may not be aware themselves. She uses powerful healing modality, quantum body awakening, which includes sounds such as light language, toning, or breath to focus and balance a person's energy systems, removing immediate pain and kickstarting the healing process. Deepal's passionate about bringing together science and spirituality, and don't we need that right now? Bringing together science and spirituality to help people all over the world transform their lives. From a pharmaceutical, biochemistry, and business background, she has transformed her own life from an often stressful career on a path that brought her to an awakened spiritual journey of healing her own diseases. Her purpose and goal is to help others to find their freedom from their diseases of the mind and body. And so, gosh, that is so beautiful. So thank you for being on the show. And I'm really curious, and I know everyone else is too, that's such an interesting mix of skills, background, and history. So let's dive in. What was your journey to awakening? What was that like for you?
Right. So, yeah, I worked in pharmaceuticals for over 10 years, and I found energy healing about 2 years after I left the pharmaceutical industry. I was trying to naturally heal my chronic digestive issues, and I had gone to so many doctors. I mean, I would take a visit to the doctor once every month because there was something and something going on, and we just couldn't get to the bottom of it. And it was just so frustrating. When something goes on with your health, you're just frustrated, you just want answers. And sometimes there aren't any. And so I had gone to energy healers because I was like, well, let me try this energy healing thing. And they helped me discover, it was unbelievable because they helped me discover all the repressed emotions from childhood trauma that I had been holding on to, that was causing my disease or dis-ease of the body, right? And it made me realize how conventional medicine doesn't always have all the answers. It's not always in the pill, right? Could it be somewhere else? Yeah. And I was so happy that I was open to even trying it, because when you're desperate, you're open to trying anything,
I
right?
know that one, sister. I got you there. Yeah.
Just give it to me. Just give it to me. I don't care what it is. You'll go to a psychic. You'll go to everything and everybody. You'll get your horoscope checked. You'll do anything, right?
Anything to make it stop. Yeah.
So I feel like everything has its place in our lives. And if we can find tools and gather these tools and learn to utilize them, right? It can make a huge impact in our health, as it did mine. So for me, I started to learn different modalities over time. And now I've created my own modality, which you mentioned in my bio, the quantum body awakening. And it allows me to work with people as I tune into their body. Because for me, I was able to open up to so many gifts that were suppressed. Again, repression and suppression. We're so good at that as human beings. We forget that our body can heal itself. We forget that we have so many emotions stuck, and we need to recognize these emotions and be in touch with our emotions. And so once I started doing all this, all these gifts just started opening up. And so for me, I can feel what's going on in your body. I can feel the pain that goes on. And now my gifts have opened up as I've been working more and more on thousands of people all over the world. And it has opened up so many other gifts of seeing, hearing, feeling, just anything. And all of my senses are just completely open. And it feels so great to be in tune with that, because that's what spirituality is, right? When I came to this journey of healing, it was about connecting with who am I? It was about connecting with my own spirit. You know, as I learned through energy healing, well, that's what it's all about. And so now it's just so much fun for me, and it's become this passion of mine, to where I found my purpose. You know, everybody's looking for their purpose. Like, why am I here? I don't understand what I'm doing here. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, that's exactly why I decided to not only just heal my family, right, and heal myself, but it was to help others find their path. Because if you are as lost as I am, or was, I'm sorry, not am, but you know, you always are learning, right? And so you're always learning your path. You're always learning on your path once you find your path. And so that's how I came about with my awakening.
God,
And
God, it's gorgeous. You know, I can still resonate with it because I think, you know, part, you know, we've talked, so, you know, part of my journey was like through this, the other end, you know, the psychotherapy route, and trying to like mind process everything and like figure it out from the level of the mind, like what's going on. But that didn't really, I mean, I got pretty good at navigating my consciousness, but it didn't take the problem away. Like it didn't, the cycles kept repeating and repeating, even though I didn't want them to repeat. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. How come I keep doing it? Well, there was like an answer hidden deep inside the energetics and my ancestral DNA that was bringing forth these patterns that I was grappling with. So whether I understood them or not, that was nice because I could have awareness. But like there was actually, I found like, you know, things that could shift that would make it stop, make it reverse, or make it dissolve. I love that. And yeah, they gave me the happy pills, and that was their solution. And I, you know,
hey,
that didn't work for me. It worked for a little while. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
help me stop feeling, you know. But here's it, it's my experience, and I wonder about your take on this. It's my experience that those pills, the happy pills, all they do is sort of make you not aware that the emotions are happening, but the emotions are still happening, and then there's still, your body is still registering them and suppressing them and holding them. You're just not aware that that's happening. Is that your explanation too?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like alcohol and drugs, right? It kind of puts your mind aside, where you don't want to face your emotions because they're so deep and dark, right? When something feels so deep and dark inside of you, you don't want to face it. You don't want to deal with it. You're like, okay, I'll deal with it later, right? It's like telling your kids, okay, I'll work on it later. I'll deal with you later, you know, if they're quarreling. But it's like, when is later? Later becomes 50 years down the road.
And by then nobody remembers people, right? By then, like, people are like, I don't even remember my childhood. How can I even access that? Because
Exactly. Exactly. But the funny thing is that your subconscious cells remember everything. So whenever you have those triggers, right, that's when you're like, I don't understand where this is coming from, because you've forgotten that childhood, right? But then again, childhood, when we talk about childhood, as children, you're not allowed to express your emotions, right? Like, I grew up with a very strict father. And you know, it wasn't that that I could express, oh dad, I'm upset, I'm angry, and really just talk about it, which I do with my kids now. You know, we
yeah,
talk about the emotions, and we tell them it's okay, let it out, don't hold it in. It's not healthy to hold it in, because I want to shift that generational pattern. It's been going on too long,
Yeah,
right?
that same pattern was in my family, but through my mom. Like my mom, like you better watch out if you think you're going to raise something to her. Like you're going to get it. You know, if your tone of voice is off, or there's just any little thing that just, you know, she'll just like, then it's like a rant, and it's like a toxic purge of anger, you know, or a smack upside the head or something. You know, there was always like, my mom is just a multi-dimensional being built from an ancestry that was the solution to control the children, you know, to provide for the family, because, you know, there wasn't necessarily spaciousness for, you know, kindness that we have spaciousness for. We have spaciousness to listen to emotions and sit down and have a conversation and go through things, because we have, you know, we're relatively privileged, you know, in this society. We have a little space for that, right?
Exactly. Well, this is the thing. We carry that energy. Like, you know, when I first became a mom, I thought that's how it's supposed to be, right? You yell at your kids to get things done, you know, and I felt like I needed to be in control of things. So I carried out those same patterns initially when my children were born. And I learned really quickly, thank God, that this is not healthy, not for me, not for them, and not even for the relationship between a husband and a wife, you know? And so that's when it came from me, from within, that I need to change. And when you can recognize that you need to change, that's the only way change is going to happen, right? It doesn't just happen automatically. You can't just keep dwelling on it, that I wish it was this way. I wish this, I
You
wish
had
that.
to make it that way.
Exactly. And that's the
Yeah.
only way it's going to happen, because it affects everybody. How you feel within you will affect everyone outside of you. And it took me a very long time to realize it. But guess what? I have realized it, and I continue to realize that. And you
Even
have
especially as the mother, Deeple, right? Like especially as the mother of the family, it has a huge impact. I think even more than the father. I think it has this like a tremendous impact on everybody in and everybody, including the husband, the father, like, and the
oh, yeah.
family. The state of consciousness and the state of being of the mother is like hugely impactful.
Yep. Oh, I completely agree. Because sometimes my husband will be like, you know, you might want to watch how you say this, because the kids are really taking that in, and they say, you know, they're like, oh, they're wondering why you're so angry about this, why you snap so easily or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, but I've told them like 3 times not to do something, and I said it nicely. How much more can I do?
It's a lot of pressure to be a mom. Let's just say that, because as we're waking up and we're more conscious with it, we become more aware of, and like the triggers, and like for me, like the things will happen. I'll even get, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'll get like little voices in my head, and I'll realize, oh my God, it's from my childhood. Whoa, that's not even me. And then I'll have to, in the moment, like dismiss that thought for a moment. You know, I'm going to come back to you, and then go, okay, breathe. Who am I being today? You know, and then like reach for the higher thing. Like it's a lot of inner work.
But it's so easy to just trigger and just let your mouth
Yeah,
just whatever
so
you
familiar.
want. So you really have to stop yourself in your track. And you're right, it is a lot of inner work, and it's so important to do that inner work if you want to see yourself in a different space, you know, and if you want to see the change.
There's also like the opposite recoil reaction, you know. So like if you had a parent that was like that was super, you know, I don't know, in your face, then you might be more like reticent to be in that. You might be more sensitive and more guiding and more like ephemeral and kind of in the background and like nudging and things like that. And then you might need to like cultivate a little bit more of that boundary and that strength. And you know, so that was my journey. I had to cultivate more of that. I had to go, okay, I need to be stronger, because I'm being too much of a marshmallow. Like I need to come forward more. And as I've done that, like the kids are like, you know, who is this coming up?
Well, when you change, the kids see that, and
They do.
they're like, really? You said that?
You
You
used
never.
to do everything. Yeah, I could just manipulate you up and down, and now I can't. What?
Fun times,
Well,
right?
what an interesting journey. So basically, Deepal, you kind of went a similar path to me. You went through, you were starting your life, you were just operating out of the old patterns that you had learned. You start become a mother, you start to really see how that plays out. And your body's telling you this isn't right. This isn't right. There's another way. And it's so interesting that you were in pharmaceutical, Western medicine. Because I had some clients that actually work for a pharmaceutical company, and it's really interesting to have that perspective because I founded the Skills Not Pills movement because my perspective is that we shouldn't just be relying on a pill. But when you come from that ideology and you're in that environment, and everybody from what I've seen, a lot of people that are in that environment really believe this, I'm doing really good work for the world. That's the belief system. I'm doing such great work for the world. I'm helping people to get medicines, and they're going to take a pill for the rest of their life, but it's like really helpful because otherwise they'll never recover from it. And so they really believe that. So I know that. So tell me, you were in that environment. How did you shift?
Well, you're right, because I mean, anytime anybody said, I have a headache, I have a hemorrhoid, I have this, I'm like, I have this and it will cure you forever. So
Here's a pill.
about it, I had so much passion in what I was doing. But you know what? That shift came so fast. And now I'm like, do not pop that Motrin. No, 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 no.
Feel the
And
pain.
exactly right. Let's dive into it emotionally. And so I was always working from that analytical brain, right? That left brain. And I was in a different time of my life when I started on this path. And my dream, like, was always to excel in my career path within the pharmaceutical industry. And I was going to, I wanted to go from being a pharmaceutical rep. I was a trainer. I had opportunities to be a manager. I won all these awards, but it all came down 2 years before I actually quit. And so I recognized that dreams can change. And I realized that after 10 years, when I just couldn't stand it anymore and just hated going into work. Like, I just hated just getting in my car, loading up the medications, getting signatures, trying to see the doctors, getting past the front desk. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I just never imagined that I would feel this way, because this was it. This was it. This is how I was going to live my life. And so after I left my job in pharmaceuticals, I stayed home thinking, okay, I'll just stay home with the kids, raise the kids because they need me, because they were very young at that time. But things just seemed to turn around. And it's not like I was seeking, right? A lot of times things come to us when we're not even looking. So I wasn't looking for anything. It felt like it just fell into my lap. And this is what happens when you open up and just allow in life, right? Sometimes things just fall into place. And I was open to learning something new. And this happened when I started saying yes to things in life. That's when it came to me. That's when I saw opportunities opening up to me and the possibilities, right? Because I seriously never thought I was going to go back to work. I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay at home and whatever. I'm just going to be at home and let's
And
see what.
then you start making this shift, right, to Eastern medicine, which is so foreign for people in the United States.
And
They're
that was,
like, because they're just all drink the Kool-Aid on Western medicine, and now you start talking this talk, and you
yeah,
didn't go as far as me. You didn't change your last name to Hummingbird, but like on LinkedIn, when you change and you say you're doing, your quantum activation, your quantum healing, quantum body awakening,
right.
all your contacts in LinkedIn from your pharmaceutical career are like,
What was
what
it?
are you doing?
I know. And it was hard for people to, first of all, get into the mindset that, oh my gosh, Deepal's staying at home. She's not working, because I've worked since I was 17, right? And they knew how ambitious I was. They knew how motivated I was, and that there's no way that this woman could be at home, right? Well, apparently they were right. I'm at home, but I'm working. And, it's like this just, I started learning about stones because I was like, oh, wow, stones could be healing. Like I said earlier, right? We're so desperate. We'll
So
do it,
amazing, right?
right? And so I immediately shifted because I got hungry for the information, right? And
Yeah.
I shifted the biggest thing that I saw the shift in was the mindset, Carrie. And I feel like we all, if we can just shift our mindset, anything can be possible. When we get caught up in our comfort zone, it doesn't allow us to change. And you see that in, kids are very resilient and they're willing to change, right? Why can't we be like them, right? As we get
Because we
older,
get entrenched.
yes. And we have so many responsibilities that we are like, okay, I don't have time for it. Again, we set things aside,
We
right?
step over it. We step over the little pebbles, and then the little pebbles become stones, and then we step over the stones, and they become bricks, and then we step over the bricks, and they become 2x4s, and then we go, ow. And then we go, well, I can keep doing this now that that's over, and then it becomes a brick wall.
Exactly. Exactly. And so it was time for me. And luckily, because I wasn't, um, you know, traveling all the time and working, I had the time to myself to do the self management and self care and to really rethink things and reevaluate my life. Right? What do I want to change? Because I knew I wanted to change something, right? And that's what it starts with, recognizing that very first thing. Okay, do I want to change? What is it that I want to change? So for me, it was going deeper and asking the question, who am I? And how can I heal naturally? And that's when I became a seeker of whatever could be possible, right? And when I started seeking what could be possible, I found so many more answers that I never dreamed of or imagined, and started creating along the way. And the more I created, the more came to me and more doors opened up to me. I mean, I even made connections with people who helped me make my dreams come true. And that's where it starts, right? When you open that door up, it's like everything comes flooding through, and you're like, wow, I never thought that I would meet you and you would guide me along. You feel like your guardian angel just stepped in, right?
Totally. Yeah, well, that's because you actually want the help. I mean, all
Right.
those years on the psychotherapy couch, I thought I wanted the help. I was definitely trying. I mean, I was in the room and I was listening, but I wasn't actually ready to give up my story or to really heal, because I probably liked my little spot on the triangle of disempowerment. I like being in the victim corner and blaming everybody for my stuff. I liked that spot because I didn't have to be so responsible. But finally, when everything got like down into the nitty gritty and like the bottom of the barrel, it was like, okay, I can't keep going this way. Whatever's making this happen has got to stop. Like, this needs healing. And I had a lot of early childhood trauma to heal, like just a ton. So I did. I was burdened in my soul by a lot of stuff that happened in my early life that needed healing. And a lot of people maybe don't realize that. Like, they think that the past is done. It's like, well, that's the past and the past is done and there's nothing I can do to change it. So I just got to power forward. And you can do that for a while, but if your soul is here to like actually heal that, you're going to get a brick wall until you actually stop. So, I think that's definitely part of the process, right? Isn't that part of the process that people open up, is to get that kind of big
Oh,
message?
definitely. And you know how they say the past haunts you?
Totally.
So when you said that, I'm like, yeah, people think they put it in the past and the past is gone, but the past can haunt you. And so when you find that, why am I getting so angry? Why am I getting so scared to do something? Like, I remember, I'll never forget, I got bit by a dog when I was about 11, 12 or so. And this dog just came running, bit me in the back, and just ran off. And I
Ah,
was talking to a friend across the street, so I didn't even know it was coming towards me, right? You'd run or something, nothing. And there was no owner. And so ever since then, I was scared of dogs. But also, there's a belief in I don't know if it's a cultural belief or my mother instilled it in me. I'm still trying to figure it out, because we're always afraid of dogs. Like, we'll cross the street if we see a dog coming, you know? So once I opened up and set that mindset of yes, and saying yes to anything in the universe, okay? Because I've tried so many things after I started saying yes. Just opening up to what can be. I now have a dog.
I was going to say, do you have a dog?
And so I have this little Maltipoo, and she is the love of my life. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's the best yes, you know? And so, of course, I have so many other best yeses, but I've started to enjoy my life. I'm starting to become alive the more I say yes, and I can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the open invitation. Like when I got to the end of the psychotherapy, actually, I said, okay, that's it for that. I'm not doing that anymore because it's just led me to think that I'm broken and bad and labeled and shamed and all this kind of stuff. That's probably not the intention of it in the industry, but that was the result and how it made me feel. And the diagnosis I had made me feel like crap, like the description of it on Wikipedia was awful. So I was like, all right, I don't like that anymore. So I'm just going to stop that and I'm going to open up. I'm going to say, okay, I tried this for 20 years your way. There's got to be another way. And then it started happening, and I started, like you said, I got invited to yoga, and I was like, okay. And then it was awesome. And then I got invited to like this drum journey circle, and I was like, okay. And it was great. So like every single thing I said, it was like, it was new, it was uncomfortable. I had to stretch to get out of my comfort zone, which was, my comfort zone was pain. Like
It, it's for everybody.
my comfort zone was pain, and I had to stretch out of pain to go for something that felt good. Really. Like, and now in retrospect, I go, I have to remind myself of that, actually, because I'll see people and watch them teeter right on the edge of that decision. It's like they're in pain, and on the other side of this decision, like to do a session with me, for example, is like so much relief. And then I'm like, why are they teetering there? It's like, just go for it. Like, say yes and see what happens, instead of like making all these rules about it. It's amazing to me, actually.
We're so good at making rules for ourselves,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and not even sure where they come from, but they come from within us and our beliefs, right?
Yeah.
We have to really tap down into our beliefs and what is limiting us from achieving and being who we are and what we believe in. You
Because
know,
when you got bit by that dog, like a very traumatic experience, you made a very deeply ingrained belief that dogs are scary. And you already had evidence of it because your mom had already been telling you that dogs are bad, right? So it like cemented it in, and you're like, oh, they're terrible. And then now you've got a traumatic experience to back it up. And you're never going to waver off that until you wake up and you go, wait a second. That was one experience,
exactly.
and that was one ancestral pattern, and it might not be true because look, all these other people, it's not true for them.
Exactly. And now what I realized and what I see is like the next generation, like my niece and her friends and so many Indians are getting dogs. And I'm like, oh my God, an Indian with the dog.
We're like healing our Indian relationship with dogs. It's amazing. It's like a global healing.
And
It's fun.
will always be like, do you remember when we were so scared of dogs and we didn't understand them? And now we're so comfortable. I'm like, I know. And I wish, and now I don't understand the other people who don't understand dogs.
Because once you flip, you don't get it anymore. But this is so interesting, Deeple. I know we're using a fun example. A lot of people have the dog fear. And so it is a real legitimate thing. And it's a little bit of a fun story because you have this cute little dog now and you really enjoy it. But this applies to everything. This applies to all the issues that are out there in the world today. Every single issue. Like you might have just like this innate fear of a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people have this innate fear of a black man. Where did that come from? How did that get instilled? Well, media, programming, culture, our parents, our families, right? And it's an irrational thing. And when you flip over to the other side, I can speak from experience, you're like, dang, that's a sexy man, so you have a whole different perspective than the other way. So, you can't understand why people think this isn't like the greatest thing. I'm like, this is awesome. So, these are things like, I think that, I just want people's minds to stretch that every single aspect of your life is like the story that people just shared about the dog. Like every single aspect is like that. And so that's why there's so much to work on. So, and this is what gets in the way, right? This is what gets in the way of people that have dreams, right? All this stuff that gets in the way, these agreements that get stuck in there that then feel immovable.
And see, here's the other thing, Carrie, and I know sometimes we don't tap into this, is also not only experiences from this life, and of course the beliefs and you know, everything that you mentioned, but also I also work with a lot of people with past lifetime energies. You know, when you don't understand, when you're like, no, I had a beautiful childhood, I had wonderful experiences, I was never bullied in school, you know, it was the perfect life, you know, perfect childhood. And now you're dealing with something. Can it be a past lifetime thing? Can it be karma or karma, as it's called in the Western world? But, you know, yeah, it can. So we have to dive down deep into all of this and into your energy in order to access the information.
It could also be an ancestral thing. Like, for example, like in my, I'll just give a quick example. So my, you know, my mom, as I've mentioned, it's been a challenging thing. Love my mom, but it's been challenging. And why has it been challenging? Well, because if I look back in my mother's ancestral line through the mother's figures, she had a very challenging relationship with her mother, my grandmother, who was super sweet to me, but really challenging for my mom. And then if you go back one more generation, there was my great grandmother who had 13 kids and was a migrant farm worker. Think about the stress. She kind of lost her mind a little, you know, she kind of lost her mind. And that set into motion kind of like this pattern of I don't feel loved and supported by my mother, because how can a mother love and support 13 kids equally and be working all day long? You can't. So it set in motion this pattern that nobody can explain, because if they don't know the stuff we know, Deepo, they just think that's the way it is, but that's not the way mothers have to show up. And this is a pattern that can actually be healed. We can go back and heal this pattern, and then we don't have that feeling anymore, that resistance to being loving with our kids. It's not there anymore.
Exactly. And see what these patterns create is this negative loop in the mind, in the prefrontal cortex of the mind. And so you keep playing this recording again and again and again. I'm not good enough. I was abandoned. I'm, you know, whatever. And you tell yourself these stories, but what if you could stop those stories? Right?
What if it was
Imagine,
quiet?
right? Yeah. And just, and it's like letting go those stories. That emotional attachment to the stories is what you're letting go once you let go.
So is there a process that you can lead us through that can help people to open up possibilities in their lives?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You want to
Yeah,
do
I want to. Yes, let's do it.
awesome. So let's do the I am process. Okay. And so I work with a team of guides. I work with your guides because we all have guides that guide us through life. So we'll invite them here with us today. And so as I connect with your energy and tune in, I just want you to relax and allow your body and mind to relax. So everywhere right now that you feel constricted, just squeeze really tight. Just squeeze your entire body. Just squeeze, 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 squeeze from head to toe and release. Do it one more time. Squeeze, 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 and release. Take a nice deep breath in and a nice breath out, and close your eyes. It's the best way to enjoy any process. So I will take you through this time and this moment. So just be here, just be present with me. Just be present by listening consciously. If you're listening to this later in the replay, there will definitely be energies infused within this, and you'll feel shifts in form of feeling calmer, lightness. You may feel a cool breeze as we go through the process. You may feel heat or tingling, or see images or color. You may see bigger shifts in your life as the energy processes over the next few days. And if you do not feel anything, it's okay. This is a process and your body knows what it needs to clear right now. So just allow by focusing on your breath bringing your mind and your body's attention to your breath. And close your eyes. And as you breathe, I want you to see, just imagine right in front of you, the words that say, I'm possible. And as you breathe, let go all the beliefs, emotions, thoughts, and feelings that are keeping you stuck. Let's start clearing what's coming up for the collective at this time. So I'm clearing all the blocks that I see in your mind, body, and the 5 energy systems where you're holding on to the following. Everywhere that you're holding on to guilt and shame, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel alienated, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you were beaten, your ideas were beaten, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel hopeless, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel despair, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel worried, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel devalued, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel distressed, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel lost, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel regret, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you have made yourself small or others have made you feel small, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you are helpless, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel powerless, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel worthless, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel defeated, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel incomplete, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel ineffective, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel overwhelmed, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel weak, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel frightened, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel ridiculed, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel intimidated, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel trapped, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel rejected, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel deserted, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you've been humiliated, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you feel uncertain, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you have the fear of the unknown, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you're holding on to the fear of the possibility, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you're holding on to old traumas, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you're holding on to old beliefs, clear, cancel, delete. Everywhere that you're holding on to loss and grief that's holding you back, clear, cancel, delete. Take a nice deep breath in and a nice breath out. Allow your nervous system to just relax. You've been in fight or flight for way too long. It's time to let go and turn that switch of the sympathetic nervous system off. Notice how calm your nervous system feels. Notice what you sense. Everybody senses something different. And I want you to tell yourself right now, I'm possible. I want you to say it 3 times. I'm possible. And let me ground your energies. Beautiful. Now you can open your eyes. How does that feel?
Well, for me, that felt great. And I would love for everybody in the audience to, who's been listening to put a comment and share with us how it made you feel. Yeah, I love your conviction with doing the commands and the cancel clears. It's like I can feel it like, yeah, it's just neutral. It's like I felt this neutrality coming in, like, oh, well, that's right. I forgot. I got this. This is, this is not as complicated as my ego wants it to think it is. It's actually much simpler.
Well, there's so many of these that I mentioned that came up for people that's that they're holding on to, all these feelings and emotions that are holding them back from what's possible. And that's why it's so important to do this. And you could re-listen to this process as much as you want. It's going to help clear more and more stuff. You know, this is just the beginning. Let's
Yeah, it's
just say.
just a little loofah, a little spiritual loofah for you for your
Exactly.
day. So, what are some things that you offer, and how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely. So the best way to get in touch with me is to go to anandaforlife.com. That's ANANDA, the number 4 life.com. You could also go to dipalshah.info. Either way, you can sign up for a free stress-free relief guide. And once you do that, you'll start receiving my newsletters. While you're there, you could check out the MP3s that I offer, sessions, packages, all kinds of things. There's something for everyone there. But if you have a question as to what is right for you, there is a way to set up a 15-minute consultation, and it's called 15-minute meet and greet with Dipal. So we can talk about what's creating your blockages, whether it's in health, relationships, career, finances, wherever you feel stuck. Of course, I am a medical intuitive, but energy is also energy. So, I've helped many, many people within all areas of life. So, again, that is Ananda, the number 4, life.com or dipalshah.info. And there's other ways that you could follow me. You could follow me on my podcast, Conversations with Dipal, as well as Facebook. You can look up Dipal Shah and Instagram. So
Awesome. And I'm excited. I'm going to be on your show too. That's so great. And by the time this comes out, I will already have been on there. So we'll put a link. But this is really exciting. This is the beginning of what people can experience when they start to go into subconscious healing. I want to say like quantum healing, like you're calling it, because it's so much more than just our minds can process. So we have to go into our senses and into our bodies and into our feelings to know that something has changed, shifted, and been made new, and then to become like aware of our new reality, like with curious minds. Like that's what I always tell people, because these things feel so ephemeral for people who are used to like hammering it out the clunky way with talking or something, or with a pill or something like that. It's like this works more, it's more in the subtle body. So, but it has profoundly greater impact and change available to it, because you start to watch things shift in your life, and it's the gentler path is what I want to say. Do you anything you want to add to that?
yeah, I feel like, when you understand and when you can be open to thinking, okay, I am energy. Everything is energy. I'm not my body. I'm not my mind. I am energy. That's when you can separate yourself from everything else and you can start your healing process, right? Because when you're stuck in, I'm my body, I'm my mind, this is me, you're stuck. That's when you're going to find, oh my gosh, I don't feel motivated. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm this, I'm that, because now you are owning it. So with the quantum energies, we're diving into those subatomic cells. We're diving into the cells of your body. We're diving into every part of your mind and your energy systems, which is outside of this body, which is helping to clean things up, but the energies are so intense that we pull them into our body, and that's the best that I could explain energy. Like how we take it on. We take on other people's energy, we take
Yeah.
on everything around us, and those thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs become a part of us, and that's when all this body and mind, I'd like to say, quote unquote, becomes shattered, lost, and so we have to regroup. We have to regroup everything because we don't want everything to work on its own. We want it all to work together. It's like a
Holistically. Yeah.
And it's like a computer, right? If your computer bits and pieces are laying around, you got to put it together for it all to work together. And so our body and our mind is like a computer system. You know, we got to get the right programming going, though.
That's why clear, cancel, delete works. That's what I talked about in
Exactly.
the second wave book, because you know, it's really about programming. Like most of the second wave people that are here, they're just really, really good consciousness programmers. So we're just reprogramming the consciousness from the inside out. That's what we have the invitation to do that now.
Exactly.
Great. Well, I encourage everybody to go check out Deepal's offers. I'll definitely put the links in the show notes, and also be sure to share this out. You know, this is the way that people find the information. I know I ask every week. I say, please share it out, because engagement's the way that these broadcasts get seen by more people. And don't you want more people living in peace and harmony? Wouldn't that make the planet just a better place if more people were just curious about their own journeys and invested in this kind of personal inquiry and not so much interested in like causing trouble over someplace else? It would be fun, right? So let's make that happen. So share it out, give it a nice review, give it a comment, and we appreciate you for doing that. And now we're going to give you kisses to say thank you in advance. So here's our kiss. You want to help me give kisses to people?
Definitely.
Okay, here come the kisses. We love you, love you, love you. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next time on Soul Nectar Show. Bye for now, everybody.